applying that to the county, do you see? For me, I'm looking at a private business versus a government branch. So apply that same type. Should the city manager be getting top dollar out of the county? We talked about that earlier with the market rate, as I believe it was Councilman Morgan that mentioned we need to step it up to market rate in the October 20th meeting. So do you believe that should be the same?
I believe,
and not to get off track, I know we should go back to
sure,
but
the county court is here to serve a purpose.
Right.
It should not be a moneymaker. It should not be a revenue.
And I wanted to ask that question because I know that question will come up. I know people will ask it so understood.
Yeah.
I would agree. That's a county court. It's providing a separate service than something like the music center or another private industrial business.
And to further go in on that, if the county court was to move because of the poor negotiations, the bad relationships, the rude comments, and again, on the audio from the judge's meeting, the judge was asked very directly, was the rude comments made by our city manager?
Okay.
The judge himself said yes. That's a slam dunk. I mean, that's Michael Jordan, 1 second left. He needs a 3-point shot. It's nothing but net. You can't get much more clear than that.
So, now you were talking to Mr. McManus at the county court.
Mm-hmm.
What happened after that? We'll just go back to where that was.
Sure. Again, after I asked the questions, and the confirmation that there's been no negotiating on behalf of myself or Mr. Otto, that was confirmed.
Okay.
No negotiation. We asked confirmation if they had heard of those 2 council members. Again, we talked about that earlier with Judge Pierges. Those comments are not really privy to those 2 individuals. We further talked about rebuilding relationships within the region, really working for the people, because that's something I believe in. That's something I believe Councilman Otto believes in, and I know that John McManus believes in that. So we share a common interest there. After that, we left the courts at 11:10 a.m.
Okay. And then
after that, I went and had Subway in Heber Heights.
All right.
Yeah. So that's...
Is there anything else you want to share with us on the podcast?
I don't think there's anything else that I can share. I mean, I'm waiting. I'm hoping tomorrow morning, which is Monday, that Mike Foley reaches out to me, and he either provides confirmation or he doesn't to the 2 names. Either way, I have the source of those 2 names.
Reputable source.
Reputable source.
Okay.
Sworn affidavit all day long, I truly believe would attest to that in a court of law that those 2 names were heard out of the judge's mouth.
Okay.
Mark Campbell and Ed Lyons. And we as a community have got to put a stop to this type of behavior in our community. The level of communication from our city administration to our elected officials needs to improve dramatically. When council members and things of that nature are hearing about city events in the Dayton Daily News, that's not the way our community is supposed to operate. Matt, I was elected, and it was a very difficult election for me because, again, I was a new kid on the block.
Certainly. Hadn't
really lived here that long a time, going against a very established opponent. The residents elected me to do a job for them. They put their trust into me over a 4-year period, and if I did not present this information I had, and I did not make the statements that I've made and talk to the people I have, I wouldn't be doing my job. There'd be no reason for me to be here.
Last question. Do you have it out for the city manager?
No. I have been very cordial with the city manager during all of my dealings with him. Any public record request would show that any and all emails that I've ever sent to the city manager have been polite, been professional. I have, even on the dais at public meetings, whether it be an executive session or not, has always been polite. Again, this is simply an issue of not him personally.
Right.
I am here to elected to do a job. I have 3 positions as a council member that report directly to a body of council: the clerk of council, the city manager, and the law director. And if either one of those 3 individuals are not doing their job, the citizens elected me to make sure that those 3 are doing their job for the best interest of this community. We had shown that previously with the law director that we believe was not doing the best interest, and we got a new law director. Things improved greatly. I don't take the comments that I made to the city manager lightly, but I back them up with facts. Now, those facts are going to be disputed by others on the other side, and again, that's where the difference of opinion is.
Right.
But I think there needs to be a change. I think we need to rebuild our relationship within the region, within other communities, and within the county. If we are going to see the growth that people are looking at. There was just announced that GM's going to be building a plant. We could have that plant.
I saw that.
Kettering got Amazon. We could have had Amazon. Again, if we are going to move forward with infrastructure, with water improvements, with growth of commercial businesses, bringing in jobs, increasing our tax base, that guy that's there negotiating for us needs to be doing his job correctly, professionally, honestly, and that information needs to come down communication-wise to all of council. Not a select few, all of council.
Exactly.
I cannot tell you how many times I have heard of city news through Dayton Daily News, and residents contact me, and I have to say, I've got no idea what you're talking about. That's not the way it should be.
It isn't.
That's what happens, though. And when I send emails to community, to city administration, asking questions regarding residents, and I don't get any email responses back, that's very concerning. I have a treasure trove of examples on that. I don't make these comments lightly without evidence and without proof. Again, the most recent one, which was very, very concerning, I had sent some communication, some very direct questions regarding our sign ordinance. You know, the first time that I've seen those responses, when it was posted on the city's website in the meeting agenda. I never got an email response back.
Wow.
Now, of course, again, folks are going to say, well, it was somebody else's job or whatever the case may be. I sent that email with our city manager on it. The law director had advised me that he had reviewed his portion and sent it back to city administration to answer their further questions. City administration never got back with me. Again, I don't say these comments lightly. I have the proof. I have the facts.
Richard?
So, I appreciate you having me. I know there was a lot to go into, and I'm hoping that Monday night is beneficial for our community and our county, and we are able to secure the courts here in Huber Heights.
All right. I appreciate you doing the podcast. Thank you for sharing all that with us.
Yes.
And if I'll just state it out. If anyone has anything to add, they can contact me through the Facebook page, Messenger, or whatever.
And again, all the information shared here today will be directly submitted to our clerk of courts for public record.
Okay.
My email address, rshaw@hhoh.org. If anybody wants to do a public records request on my communications with the city manager or the county administrator. But again, I mean, the clerk of council will have all that information. So again, everything I've shared here today will be available to anybody who wants it.
All right. Thanks, Richard. And thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to Truman's Town Hall. Share this podcast with your friends and neighbors and subscribe today.